Can you hear me?
All right. Welcome everybody for another fantastic Tuesday afternoon in the sun at Acti. It is going to be another great game event today, and I'm super happy to be able to, of course, say that welcome back, Isabella. You were also here last week to the
Thank you.
studio. Isabella is our head of global sales here at Acti and has all of the ins and outs on what our clients are missing out there. And even more exciting is that we have Paul Hirlau. Oh, damn it.
Yeah,
I even practiced the pronunciation. Hirlau.
Yeah, you were
Uh,
there, Ida. I think it was good. It was good.
that was good.
sorry,
That was good.
Paul. All right. Well, at least we're very honored that you would want to take part here today, Paul. And for those of you who do not know who Paul is, he is a director from Gordon Crossings. It's a consultancy house or where they are working with human skill development, so leadership
Yes.
development, communication, and change management, which is great because the game we are looking at today is combining those three elements perfectly.
And a great partner
Of
of Acti for
course.
several years now.
And
So,
happy to be so.
uh, Paul, do you want to do a quick intro about yourself?
Sure. Sure. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to be with you all this afternoon. Gordon Crossings is a training and consulting firm. Our clients are mainly large corporations, and we're doing with leadership, management, change management, and communication skills. We are part of the Gordon Training International Network, and we do intervene in any countries. And we have been using Acti for the last 3 years, and it's a real plus for our sessions, a real plus for our clients. It was a big step forward for us, and we're just looking forward for looking forward to using more games and more intensively. And clearly, I'm really happy to be sharing my experience with Acti, because it has been one of our main improvement for our clients over the last years.
Thank you so much, Paul. I'm gonna dig much more into that when we proceed a little bit in today's agenda. But I'm super excited to hear more about how you feel Acti has actually created more value in your learning development. And Isabella, as our global sales, of course, you are the one who's collaborating with Paul and the team.
Yes.
How does that look?
I was just about to say before that it's amazing to work with Paul and the team, also
Mhm.
Antoine and some of the other guys. I'm also very inspired every time we speak because we can give each other good feedback and it goes both ways. And I really appreciate a partnership like that. So I think it's been a great couple of years. And I learn something every time I speak both with Paul and Antoine. So that's really really cool. And I'm only looking forward to collaborating more in the future. So that's great.
All right, so we're dealing with a dream team here. I can
Dream
feel that.
team, ready.
All right. Well, that was just a quick introduction to who we are, and I'm Ida. I'm running these events, and I think after the past few weeks, you probably have seen my face pop up here and there, and I am, of course, the host of today. And in that manner, I'm going to move on to show you our agenda for today. So I'm going to do a very quick introduction about what is Acti, if there should be anyone out there who has no idea what Acti is. Actually, if there is anyone watching, please just write in the chat where you're from, and if you have no experience with Acti, please let us know. That's so cool that you are trying something new. But yes, we're going to do a quick introduction about what is Acti, how can you use it. Then we are actually going to discuss a little bit about the game you're playing, how it's set up, and the different layers in it. Then you yourself will get the link and get to play this game. And once you've played it, you will actually get a complete data profile about your own choices that you've made in this simulation, which is really, really cool to
Yeah.
have afterwards. And meanwhile, while you guys are playing, I'm going to ask Paul and Isabella to play this game as well, and we're going to have a little bit of facilitation, talk about a bit of a few choices or a layer or how it could be used in practice. So we're going to start talking around the game while you guys play it. And in the end, we will discuss a little bit about the host view, the takeaways, and how all of that is put together, and hopefully we'll have time for your questions. All right, so without much more ado on this, I want to just mention for our new activists out there, Acti has been around for over 20 years, and we have a very big pile of games and simulation tools at the hand, ready to play, and even more being developed all the time. Of course, as new trends are popping up with new skill developments or new pains, of course, new games also being developed and improved, and the portfolio of games gets so much bigger and so many more perspectives and colors put on. And of course, talking about theories and methods as well, every time a new theory is developed, you of course can put that into the Acti platform, and it's pretty easy to then connect the rest of the dots in there. And we have over 2,500 certified activists worldwide, also growing, and all of these really, really cool Acti partners, we call them, of course, are contributing to creating new games, new content, new dilemmas, new pains, and a lot of sparring and feedback for us. So we love our Acti partners out there.
Yeah, we really do.
And just to give you a brief overview, like, okay, organizational development games, that can be anything. That's very vague. Yeah, it kind of can be anything. That's a little bit the beauty of it. You can really use the Acti platform for addressing anything. These
You
are
can do whatever you want.
you can really do whatever you want. These are the pains that we are currently addressing. I think this is probably not even the full list. But Isabella, I think you probably have a very good insight in how the pains are developing through time.
Indeed. I think at the moment, maybe also Paul can second that, but I think sustainability and also EDI or DEI is something that is really on many people's mouths and conversations in the different workshops and programs. Definitely sustainability is something that I'm seeing growing in popularity in many different industries and sectors. And then just change management is it's a big topic all the time and has been for a long time. But maybe Paul, you have a few words on that as well. What do you see growing?
Definitely, change management leadership is important, and it's still something very big. Diversity and inclusion, I would say yes, but probably not less so as I would have said 3 months ago. It's we all know what's happening on the other side of the ocean, and since we're dealing with large multinational firms, I wouldn't say that in France they've been that far as in the US as to cut things, but clearly I can feel that people feel a bit more relaxed on that.
Okay.
Or I would say, no, let's put it this way. I would say it's more binary. Some people who were quite positive on it and really want to act on diversity and inclusion would push forward harder because of what's happening in the US.
Mm.
And other ones would take advantage of um, this desperate attitude and would say, okay, that's a good way to get out of it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't think that these people were convinced anyway. They were doing it because they had to do it, but I don't think they were strong believers that DNI was something that was not nice to have, but a must have.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see how the next couple of months and this year will kind of go in that direction. I think there's still a lot of things to bring to the table, also from our and your perspective, right, Paul, to see where the
Yeah.
different companies are going and the perspectives that they're going to have, because they in some way have to do something, right? So
Mm.
I think that's exciting, and we'll be there to support.
Yeah, so as you can see, a lot of these games or pains are really interesting, even just to discuss in trend wise. But I think and a last little important note to make about these pains is that, of course, you can talk DE&I and you can talk sustainability, but normally there are so many pains intertwined in each other that you cannot just make a game about DE&I. Then there will always be some kind of communication or some
Mm.
kind of leadership or management put in there somewhere, or teamwork or conflict handling, or like you cannot separate these pains all the time. So no matter what game you are addressing, you will probably touch at least 10 different pains. And I think that's some of the beauty of Acti, is to show how complex it actually is, like how many different variables talk into it,
Mm.
and then showcase it in a very, very easily understandable way.
Yeah, and allow different perspectives. I think that's
Yeah.
probably how it's supposed to be done.
Yeah. If I can step in this point,
Mm.
I would like to share with you that a lot of our clients are engineers, and for them, there should be one or two good answers. But
Mm.
the idea that with the Acti games, you're selecting some options, and most of what you select is, even if you select good options, you still have some stakeholders lagging behind and not
Mm.
not willing to follow you on your project, and that drives some people crazy, because they say, well, what's this game? I mean, I've selected good options and still some people are not happy. And our answer is, well, welcome to real life. I mean,
Welcome to the
uh,
world.
and that if you're dealing with leadership and management in your company, you're going to take sometimes the very best options, and still you will have some people who are going to be against you or against your project or against what you're trying to achieve. And that's real life. And what we are practicing with those games is your ability to be flexible and to select the best options at the next step of the game, so that you can catch those who were lagging behind, and those who were not convinced with the decisions you take at this first step. And that's really what's happening in real life. You can't catch everyone at one go. At even if you're the best leader, you can't. I mean, it's just really, and that's something which is very realistic with the Acti games, is that we are really experiencing some people lagging, even though you have selected good options. But that's life.
That's life.
I think you deserve this one, Paul. That was
Thank you.
that was a perfect
Yeah.
summarize of like active versus real life. But we're going to move a little bit on now from the pains, and instead we are going to address a little bit the learning space very quickly. Of course, in a minute, when you all get to play the game, you're going to get a link and you will be playing it online. But it's actually also able to be played physically on like a big floorboard, little bit the Monopoly style, where you're moving around your stakeholders in your boat yourself. And each way, of course, has some pros and cons of doing it, and combining these two ways of using Acti is actually also a really, really strong way of doing it. And I'm a little bit interested to hear you, Paul, actually. How do you use it? Do you do it solely online, or are you also using the physical floorboard?
So far, we've only used it online,
Mhm.
um, um, because, to be honest, for most of our clients, digital is the big words today.
Mm.
I usually say one day they're going to invent digital coffees or digital food or something, because everything has to be digital. So even though I'm convinced that a physical game would clearly make a difference, a
Mm.
positive difference, I have to say that for our clients, um, digital is the big word Thursday, and they're
Mm.
all talking about digital transformation. So, and even though sometimes we're working with high-tech firms, you would be surprised to see the quality of internet they have sometimes, and the Wi-Fi. So sometimes we are lagging. So at the end, some of our clients now, they have some what they call a kind of a Wi-Fi box, an emergency box that they bring to the daily to the training to the training
Basically.
room, so that and it's the reality. So we haven't used the physical one, but I'm dying to, particularly that, if we can have some bigger groups. I think that if we could play with like 30 or 40 people, I think that playing with the physical one would really be something.
Mm. I'd say it definitely gives some different perspectives also when you're in the room, but I think it's super great, Paul, that you are using it digitally, because it also gives some freedom to do some micro learning, to do breakout rooms. So I think it's good that you are also utilizing that format and that space in a good and professional way.
Yeah. And
So.
also one thing that people are often asking, and that Acti is offering, is that once they play the game during the session, they'd like to play it again.
Mm.
Mm.
And if you play it physically, well, obviously you're not going to give them a box for each participant. Uh, so if they used it once online during the training session, then it's much more easy. It's much easier to replay the game after the session,
Mm.
and so that's also one element in favor of the digital one.
All
Nice.
right. I think we are going to move on to the next part of the event. Everybody's super excited because this is why you are here, of
Woo!
course, the game. And this is, of course, our bestseller IT strategy game. And it is a cycle game, meaning that your game board looks a little bit like this circle you have in the middle of the screen here. I'm going to tell you a little bit more in details about how the game board will look when you get in, when we get to the activating of you guys. But just so you know a little bit, the game is basically about a manager of Bestseller IT, and they are implementing a new IT service management system. And of course, your goal is to kind of make this change happen in a nice way. Of course, always having these two goals of when we play a change game, which is you want your change project to kind of reach its goal, but you also want your team to be on board with this game or with this change. So you both want to reach your goal, but you want your team with you. So
Very much
those,
a digital transformation, I'd say, either, right? Or
yeah.
within that space. So that's perfect.
Absolutely. And I think what Paul mentioned earlier is really, really important here. You will not get everybody with you. It's okay. It's like in real life, not everybody will go with you, no matter what choice you make. So don't be too
Maybe
hard on yourself.
also, if I may share
Hmm.
something,
Of course.
when you are playing with engineers, um, they want to understand how the game is built before they start playing. So
Mm,
there is a real talent when you facilitate this game, to listen to this problem that they have, but also to make them understand that they don't need to know um, how is the game built inside before they play. And for some engineers, before they want to touch something, they want to understand how it works.
Yeah.
And for them, sometimes, at least at the beginning, we struggled with that point, how to handle this, is convince them that how the game was working was not the important part of the training. This was not a training about digital serious games. It was a training about change management, for example, and that they have to let go this idea of understanding, and that maybe one day they would apply and get a job at Acti, maybe. But then, as long as it's not the case, they should use the game as it is without understanding how it works.
Mm,
Good point.
absolutely. So I am going to tell you a little bit more about the game, though, because that is how I planned it. Just I'm not going to dig super much into the different theories that there are in this game. I just quickly want to mention so that if you know about Rick Mauer, then you already now know, okay, then I need to be aware of resistance or however. But we are going to play a game that actually has 5 theories, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
layered into it. So the first one is Rick Mauer's resistance movement, so about how you are affecting your stakeholders. Then we have Leavitt's diamond model, which is a little bit more on like the structure side of it. We have Daniel Goldman's 6 leadership styles and Cotter's 8-step model as to how you deal with change management. And finally, we have this management versus leadership element in there, which is kind of actually making you aware in the data module afterwards if you are primarily focusing on the goal, like the project itself, so management of it all, or are you focusing primarily on the leadership, so taking care of your stakeholders, making sure that they are following the change. And I think that's a really cool element to kind of keep top of mind, because I think it's the most difficult balancing act in this game.
Mhm.
But see how you do.
Mm.
And in a minute, not quite yet, but in a minute, you guys are going to get a link sent in the chat, and then you are going to play the game yourself. And just before that, I want to say hi to Juan, Benjamin, and Okolo, who have joined the chat. But in a minute, in the chat, you will receive a link that you just click, and once you click it, your browser should look like this. And it's super easy. You enter a guest name. I'm just going to write a little test here. You choose your position. This is not going to be relevant for our session today, but it's a pretty cool feature when you are playing it with a whole team. And then you get to the go page of playing the game. And
Paul and I will do the same. Right.
Paul and Isabella will do the same in a minute.
Yeah.
First, I'm going to just quickly show you how you navigate in this game board. Here you have our cycle. We call it the cycle of change. You have a boat. That's this one. Oh, I clicked on it, and you can see who was in the boat. This little blue arrow is the boat, and that is your project. That is your mission that you want to transport all the way around the board. And these little dots are your stakeholders, and you can actually read about each and every one of them and kind of learn about what are they liking, what are they not, their history, how long have they been with the company, and so on. So the more you really read the details, the better prepared you also are of making the choices, because you know your team better. And once you are ready to make choices, you just follow the green buttons, continue. And I think the only things I need to say about this is in the first chapter, you need to make 2 choices. And in the second 2 chapters, your choices are based on how many hours you have at hand. So you'll have 100 hours for each chapter. and you will be able to choose choices based on how much time you have. But it will make a lot of intuitive sense once you get to chapter 2 and 3. Okay, so team insights, you can read about your team as a whole if you don't want to click on every single one of them. But I think those are the most important things for you to know in order to play the game.
Amazing.
You choose an option and automatically you move on. It should be intuitive. This is a very bad choice I made.
That was a great choice, Ida.
Please don't judge me on this. The minus points on chapter 1. All right, but if you guys are ready, I will ask my colleague please to send out the link so that you guys can get into the game and start playing. And Isabella and Paul, I would like to ask you two to do the same. So to find the link and to start reading about the first chapter.
Yes.
The link should have been sent out now. And while you guys are playing, you are of course welcome to mute us so that we don't disturb your playing. But otherwise, you can find this recording afterwards in the event where you can hear our discussions about the different chapters. Okay, I'm going to go to the host view so that I can follow Isabella and Paul's game, and it will look like this. Gonna unselect. Here's Paul and Isa. I'm just gonna give you guys 15, 20 more seconds to concentrate. All right, so you can see up on my screen, if you're sat watching, this is what the host view looks like, the facilitator view, if you will. It gives me a really nice understanding of the game board and my players. I have deselected some of the other players here, just so that I have a clean focus view on Paul and Isabella.
Ooh, I think this is difficult, I must admit.
Okay, well, you're already having difficulties, Isabella. Do you want to put a few words on what you're finding difficult?
Well, I'm trying to think about the theory and at the same time also considering my feelings or now my camera is not working. My feelings towards the question at hand, and also like what is the right approach. And as we spoke about earlier, there's no right and wrong.
Unless you get the one that gives you -2.
Like but I think I made my decisions.
Yeah, you made both. How about you, Paul? Have you made your first set of decisions?
Yep.
Great. Do you maybe, Paul? Actually, can we start with you? What thoughts were your initial thoughts in this game? Like, what were the first things you thought this is something we must do?
Well, our first idea was to try to bring everyone together on this project and sharing the vision of it. And the second thing is the idea that some people will be front runners, but that those who are not front runners will be helped by the front runners. So the idea that we will move as a team.
So it's like making this team feeling.
Yeah.
That is the most important first step.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that the similar approach you had, Isabella, then?
Well, the team approach, yes. But I was also thinking about maybe informing or in some way have people understand why do we need this new IT strategy? What is maybe inform the team that is supposed to follow this through about the reasoning behind it. But then I was like, okay, which choice should I choose to kind of inform? So that's the reason why I took at least massive training as my first choice to create some sort of awareness. Um, yeah, so I was in my information approach.
So you were more like give them enough knowledge about this.
Yeah, at least here in the beginning, and I was a little bit in doubt if it actually was the right approach here in the beginning.
All right. Well, actually, this is how you are looking now. I can see that Paul, you are the black, and Isabella, you are orange. Um,
Yeah, so Paul, you very much have the project ahead.
yeah,
Definitely a management choice. Wasn't that either management? Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
that would be a management choice. And you have Isabella, a few people a little bit behind here.
Yeah.
I see
How do
Moritz or
you how do
Mads. I
you
don't trust you, he says.
how do you usually go about this in a training session, Paul, when you play with your clients?
Yep. I think it's also very important to share with the participants that the game itself is only a tool to learn things, but winning the game is not going to bring you anywhere. I mean, as soon as we close the session, that's it. And some people hate to lose, particularly you have very competitive people, and they are really upset when they're not winning or when someone else is winning. And more important, that sometimes in our groups you have some people, um, they don't seem to be in the competitive world, they don't seem to be in a fight mode, and they end up having pretty good results.
Mm.
And that gets some people crazy because they really want to win. So I think when you facilitate a game, you have to make it clear that winning the game itself is not a target, it's not an objective, it's understanding what's behind and why is it that the different moves that I did had different impacts on the people. All right. So
I think that's a really important takeaway, that the learning is
Yeah.
not, of course, in winning the game. The learning is all of the discussions that you can take part of throughout the game.
Mm.
But how do you play it then, Paul? Do you play it in, like, when you have a session, do you play it in battle mode or in teams challenge or?
we tried both. The team challenge takes a bit more time because everyone has to agree in the team.
Yeah.
So it's more battle mode that we use.
All right.
And how
But
much focus
focusing
do you?
less. Sorry,
I'm
Yeah.
Isabella, you
sorry.
go.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, Paul, how much focus do you then put in here in between the chapters? Now we are speaking a little bit about our choices and the approach to it. Do you bring any? Now you said it yourself, which I think was a good point earlier, that you don't really have to over conversate or over inform about why and so on. How much time are you spending on the theoretical approach, or like, yeah, in between the chapters, if at all?
It depends on the groups and it depends on the session. But I would say that when we're using like Destination CRM, which is another of your game, we use it during the whole day, and we have about 50% time between the game itself and the theories behind.
Okay, yeah,
All right, yeah, there's quite a lot of focus.
yeah.
Yeah. Because at the end, sorry to repeat that, we don't care who is winning the game.
Mm. No,
At
it's all
the
about
end,
the learnings.
yeah, we want people to, and usually you remember more what you did wrong
Mm.
than what you did right.
It's always like
Exactly.
that. We always feel like we want to talk about the things that we did wrong or the negative things instead of what's positive and what we're doing right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see for the next choice.
Yeah, do if you guys would like to, then you can move on to chapter 2 and maybe just make like your first few selections. I'm gonna give you a little bit of silent time. While you guys are just continuing to make your choices, I'm just showing up here on the screen how I can actually click in and see the choices that you have made. Um, so exactly which goal you chose, and also what is the result of said action. And I can actually do that with all of you. Gonna find Lisa. Options and results. How are you doing? Have you made a choice or two yet?
I've made one.
Very nice. Okay, it looks like you guys have moved around. Paul, you're still way ahead with your boat. Mission before the man. And then
And
we
I'm
have Isabella. You managed to actually to bring quite a few of your people with you this round, or these last
and
few
now,
options
wow.
you've taken. At least you don't have anyone still floating down here at spot 0.
Nice.
Um, but you both have quite a few people in the last stage of the resistance level in this I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about how to deal with that? How do you create trust? Do you have a theory, Paul, or an idea?
Active listening.
Active listening?
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, that's how you
And
go.
listen to people and listen to what they don't trust in you.
Hmm.
And what if you don't agree then, Paul? How do you deal with that? Like
What do you mean if I don't agree?
if you don't agree with what they are telling you when they communicate something and you're not agreeing or in some way have a different perspective, how do you move from that in regards to getting them to trust you?
Just trying to. I would go and understand what's the need behind the solution they want to go forward.
Hmm.
When they want to push a solution, there is always a need behind this, and at the end, if you come to the bigger need, which is make our firm successful, you have many different options, and the power of active listening will be to be able to understand from and build from the different needs the appropriate solutions on which everyone will be able to agree.
Mm, that makes a lot of sense. That also talks very nicely into our the event we had last week, where I think also the biggest takeaway was be curious, be listening, like
Communicate.
communicate is really the foundation of all of this.
Hmm.
All right. Do
I
you guys
I
want to?
chose. Yeah, I have a little comment because I chose we build a new world,
Hmm.
which is like initiate activities to look at our fundamental values and our general behavior in the team. Very much how you thought and like your initial thoughts in the beginning, right, Paul? Like
Yep.
the team behavior. How do you approach that in the games? Like the collaboration part of it.
Um,
I don't know if I make sense, but I'm just thinking because this is very much about getting your team, getting your stakeholders on board with you on the project. Um,
to me, if I understand your question properly, is build a common and shared vision of
mm,
what we want to achieve,
Mm.
and this is going to way. This is for me is going to be the way to get everyone together, and because we agree on something which is bigger than any of us individually.
Mhm.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That was also my initial thoughts. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Cool. Should we move on, Ida?
Yes, please do. Um, if you want to do another round of questions or answering questions using your hours, then I'm just quickly going to show our viewers, if we're still here, not playing games, that this is actually the data profile you can receive after having finished playing an Acti game. And I want to show you a few cool features that we have here. And one of them is being like your personal ranking. So like in this session, where did I rank versus compared to everybody who's ever played this game. And I can also see it down here a little bit clearer actually. So all-time ranking, here I'm number 27 in line with 46 points. But in this session, I'm actually number 4. So it's a really nice overview if you are playing it with a team. We have this growing list of skills. So as I mentioned earlier, with the panes that you cannot separate, this is basically showing you every kind of competence you've touched upon throughout the game. And below here, you have an overview of the theories. And for each theory you choose, you have your sort of your visualization, and you can compare as well to what is the average of other players. You can read about the theory, and then you can actually see throughout the game where are you placed, where have you put the most focus on which element in which theory. But I think you guys are going to dig into that as soon as you've played the game, because there's some really cool information to learn about yourself. All right, have you guys made some choices?
Yeah. I was trying to
Perfect.
have my management hat on and see
How
if I
did
could
that
move
work
the
out?
project forward a little bit. You can see on the board that I didn't do as well as Paul
No,
on that part.
I'm sorry, Isabella, but you did not. But Paul, it looks like you actually have all of your stakeholders on the exact same spot on the board, apart from the 2 you have in your boat.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen that before. What was your focus areas for the last few options here, Paul?
Trying to get the people back together.
Well,
More trying to work on the leadership rather than the management.
it at least looks like you've herded them very nicely together. Now you just need to kind of pull them back in.
I, I, I think I think we had the opposite strategy actually, Paul. You and I.
You at least have some very different results. But what did you think about this final chapter? It was about how there was being applied more pressure for you guys for the goal to kind of for the change to be applied a little bit faster and people to start using these changes, right? So what was your strategy to kind of solve that issue?
Mm.
Or maybe you didn't have so much of a strategy as to move the boat forward or collect the people.
It said create a sense of urgency. So I right away was like, okay, let's go back to the theory. Let's focus on that because it's something tangible. So I tried with my first choice to make that sense of urgency by taking that was a leadership choice. I took choice number 20, and then afterwards I was more, I think, a little bit more too soft, not creating that urgency probably enough to get them on board. And then I went back in my strategy to create more of a management approach to it to see if that meant that people would move in the circle and be more or less in resistance and come closer to the project. I don't know if I managed to do that, but at least I that was my focus and thought process in it, I'd say.
Okay, so you were actively trying to focus on the Rick Mauer theory of the resistance.
Yeah, and also thinking a little bit about my leadership approach, like be a little pace setting, but at the same time also coach my way. I also took I coach. When I took I coach, I got 0 points. Not that we have to talk a lot about the scoring, but I tried to think about, okay, I need to have this leadership approach to it, pace setting and coaching.
Mm. How about you, Paul? Did you kind of have one or more theories top of mind as you made these decisions, or was it more?
I'm more the Goldman and the Cotter in mind,
Yeah.
and to be honest, in a short period of time, it's pretty difficult to analyze between each
Mm,
um, options that we have,
Of
which
course.
one we should select. So clearly, for me, when you said this game plays in 2 to 3 hours, that's a good estimate, and that makes it very kind of difficult to play it in a rush. But clearly, I was more on Cotter
Absolutely.
and Goldman.
mm.
Mm.
It's definitely quite a complex game because you really have to think a lot about it. And I don't know about you, Paul, but I was a little bit afraid that I would be too much on my feelings instead of thinking about the process. Did you do that as well because you had to move fast ahead, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But that's also a nice perspective and okay.
Well, one thing that I like to say also is that when people are in real life uh, driving a change project or a transformation project, the time they spend reading all the options
Mm.
proposed by Acti is actually very valuable, because it's not only looking at all the options you have in the game, because once again, playing the game is just a mean, it's just a tool. It's not a target itself. But then it gives them a lot of ideas of things that they may not have had the idea
Mm,
to do, because this is not their natural style. This is not their natural way of doing things. But the fact that they see, well, I could do this, even if they don't select the option in the game, they may bear this in mind and remember that this is something that they could be doing at one stage. So all the options which are offered, at the beginning, you think, well, that's too many options. I mean, why do I have to read through all this? But it's a pretty good idea of brainstorming myself, I would say, about options I could take in the future for my project in real life.
Definitely. How then, Paul, how would you kind of transfer that? So the one thing is that you are having a session and you maybe have someone in your team who is learning a lot and saying these are some cool options I didn't think of myself. Do you do anything then to enforce this learning so that they take the learnings with them out into the real world?
Yes. We ask them, after each step of the
Mhm.
game, we tell them, what are the key learnings that you want to take away from this
Hmm.
and export in your real life project? What are the things that you want to remember about this session? So we really give them it, and that's for me the most valuable time of the training, because we really ask them, what is it that you're going to remember from that?
Yeah.
And no matter if you had pretty good answers or pretty weak answers, there is always something you have to take away with you.
And is
Of
it something
course.
you come back to at a later stage, Paul, or
Yes,
how do you
yes.
continue working with that?
At each, well, it depends on the time we have, but I would say that most of the time we ask them to, after each step of the game, to have their minimum three takeaways, and at the end of the game, to summarize their top. They probably have, I don't know, 10 or 12 or 15 takeaways. What are the top 5, and what is it precisely that you're going to be doing the next day when you get to the office?
Nice.
What
That's a
are the
good
key
exercise.
actions? I'm not telling you, yes, I should be listening to people. Okay, that's very vague. Who are you going to be calling? Who are you going to be listening? How are you going to do things concretely?
Yeah.
How is this game going? We want this game to impact your project, to interfere with your project. It's not just taking a day off, using the computer and playing a game about a fake company that doesn't exist. We want this to take this into your real life
Yeah.
and
So
make it real.
you are almost making tasks. You're giving them real life tasks
Yes,
that they have to
yes,
complete during that project that they are working on,
yes.
using the
And,
simulation.
and and we even put it one step further. At the end of the day, we do a game whereby, suppose, I have to decide my top 3 actions. I'm going to team up with Isabella, and we're going to take 15 or 20 minutes each. And I'm going to share with Isabella, one of the players, Isabella, this is the things I'm going to be doing, and this is how I'm going to be doing. And the reality is that when we take commitments towards ourselves, well, sometimes we can find arrangements with ourselves, all right? Okay. But if I have spoken to Isabella face to face, and I have told Isabella, this is what I'm going to do,
You're committed in a way, right?
I commit myself in doing it. And
Yeah.
obviously, Isabella is never going to call me back a week later and say, Paul, did you do what you said you were going to be doing? But still, in my unconscious mind, I committed myself towards a real person who also committed herself to me. So we both committed face to face, eyes to eyes, to do things. How can I not do it?
How does people react to such a exercise, actually, Paul? Because I think it's fun. It's a good way of doing it. It's very similar to our card game that I know you're also looking into.
Yeah.
But how are they experiencing it, or like reacting to it?
If the trainer is experienced enough and has created a frame within the training session, whereby, okay, we're committed, we're serious, we're engaged, then it works.
Yeah.
And at the end, we say to people, let's be honest. We're spending 1 day, 2 days, 3 days together. If you're not prepared to be committed,
You will
then
not
let's
learn.
go to let's go to Euro Disney straight away. I mean, let's have fun.
Yeah.
If you're in this room, my role is to provide you with a methodology, with a frame, and your role is to be committed and to accelerate your project. If you don't want to do that, that's fine, but you might as well go home. No, but seriously, you decided to register in this training. Your company is paying some money for that. It's your interest.
Learn. You want to learn.
Yeah. And if you want, you can spend your entire day on your telephone and answering emails and WhatsApp. That's fine with me. The reality is that one of the feedback we have from people about this game is that it's very close to reality. Some people will say it's even too close to reality. So, are you telling me that there are things I don't do right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right.
Oh.
And we
Yeah.
said, no, we know nothing about your project, and it's the same game for everybody.
Mm.
And but we want to make it really applicable to real life. Okay.
And I think that's really where that's where you really take the learnings you've made and make them kind of
Yeah.
stick, right? Like that's when it happens. It's not when playing the game. All right.
And
I
clearly, the
think
fact that they can play a game with the game after the session.
Mhm.
I would say that 25% of the participants do it, so it's not massive. But those who do it, they really want to say, okay, they understood that this is a mine of ideas,
Mm. Mm.
and obviously, all what is written in the game may not be immediately applicable to your firm, but with a bit of imagination, you can adjust it very quickly and make it real.
Mm.
Absolutely. All right. I think we only have a few minutes left. So I just quickly want to say to the viewers out there that if you have any questions at all, please just write them in the comment and we will respond. And if you are viewing this video at a later stage, you can still make comments in the thread and we will be ready to answer any of your questions. And while we wait to see if there are any questions out there for us, I'm a little bit curious, Paul. I don't think you guys have created your own ACT game, have you? You've just used
No, not
the.
yet.
Have you considered
We're
it?
considering it.
Oh, cool.
There's actually two more things I'd like to share with you. Is that um, to me, when you integrate a game like this in your training, it's a long-term effort. It's a long-term commitment,
Yeah.
and it takes some time for the trainer to really be fully comfortable with the game. So for me, it's more something that is to be considered for a running program than just for a one-off. Okay,
Mm.
Yeah.
because the time investment at the beginning is heavy,
Mm.
and it's worth it. And another way to say that is that um, I don't see myself as a client of Acti. For me, it's more a partnership. And
Likewise,
that's
Paul.
exactly the same way with my own clients. I see them as partners. And
Mm.
I'll tell them very honestly when I integrate one game in a training. The first time, to be honest, it may not be a full success. We
Mm.
may need to work on it, rework on it, work again on it. And maybe after 2, 3, 4 sessions, we'll get the juice out of it.
Mm.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
really a long-term partnership. The way we work with, I mean, there are probably different ways, but for us, it's really a question of um, long-term commitment.
And
Yeah,
I
I
can
think
only
that's.
say the same, Paul. So thank you for those remarks and thoughts.
Mm. All right. Thank you so much. I am just quickly going to move your attention to our. There we go. To our next few events here before the summer. They are, of course, only two. Actually, there is going to be three events more before summer. We have one more event coming out, and it's going to be with a surprise game that we are creating for that. So stay tuned and be curious. But if you thought this was really, really interesting or cool or exciting, or you're curious, or you want to show it to your colleague, then we are here again, not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that. And we are going to look at restructuring and synergies. So jump into a LinkedIn and sign up for that if that piques your interest at all. Otherwise, I would just really like to thank you, Paul, for taking
Yeah.
the time out of your busy schedule to participate in this. Your insights have been super, super valuable. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing them with us and with our network so that hopefully other people will also start using some of these tools and create some even cooler sessions out there for leadership development and communication and all of these pains, of course, that we cannot separate from each other.
Thank you. That was a pleasure for me to be invited, and long life to Acti.
Yeah.
Long
Thank
life
you,
to
Paul.
Acti.
Thank you for the
All right.
partnership.
Thank you so guys for playing with me, and I will see you guys on some later stage. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
Great
Bye
afternoon,
bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Good afternoon. Bye bye.